We're here today at Drake's Brewing in San Leandro, and we're sitting with the head brewmaster, Dee. Your name is DeVonne, right? What's your last name, DeVonne?
Buckingham.
DeVonne Buckingham, but she goes by Dee.
Yeah.
Or Devo. I like
or
Devo.
Devo.
I like
or Devo. Let's go with
it's
Devo.
on the jacket.
Okay, this is Devo.
I like Devo much better.
Okay.
Well, thanks for meeting with us today, Devo. This is really exciting for us. This is the pinnacle of our Hops and Houses career so far, which has spanned 3 years and hit nearly 20 breweries, I think.
Oh, easily.
Easily.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we drank a lot of beer.
Yeah. So we can start wherever today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you do here at Drake's and what you're passionate about, and then we can kind of dive into some of these beers?
Sure. I'll try to keep it brief, but if
Okay.
you're talking about like what I do and passions, that can be, I mean, I could probably write an essay. We could be here for hours.
Yeah.
I am the brewmaster. I have a team of about 30 people. And what the team and I do is basically bring beer. We make beer, and we get beer on trucks. We get beer in package. We get it out to the masses. Every day, it feels like it's something new. I feel like my job is mainly it's managing people now, for the most part. Like I said, I have a pretty large team. Like there are obviously people who have larger teams, but from a brewing perspective, having a production team of 30, we're a good sized brewery.
Yeah, it's quite a team to manage.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's legit.
So yeah, I manage teams, there are people, and I manage processes. So everything from green to glass, essentially,
Very cool.
in the beer production process.
So Valerie and I can both say that we're, I'm a people person. I'm also a beer person. The difference is you get paid for it, right?
And
I do. I probably don't get to drink as much as you do.
Well, that's
We
maybe
do
the
drink.
difference, right? Yeah.
I drinks a bit.
Yeah, we drink on the job.
Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, you're a woman
I am.
beer maker, which you're like a unicorn.
I mean, yeah, so my title, Brewmaster, there are not very many females that hold that title in the world, it's true.
Very cool.
Okay, and in the United States, how many other women
The
are
Brewers
brewmasters?
Association actually just came out with some statistics, and so there are, of the brewmasters that exist in the nation today, 4% of us are female.
Wow.
That translates to what?
Not very many.
Like 5?
Like 5, 6, yeah.
94% or not? Okay, that's 6.
Well, this is very cool, and you're in charge of a great operation. I
Yeah,
mean, Drake's
yeah.
is a beer that we've loved for years, right?
Oh yeah, there
So
tends to be
that is
Drake's in
super
my
cool,
fridge.
and great representation, and hopefully that'll change, and that statistic will increase drastically.
Yeah, I
because
mean,
of your leadership.
we've got a lot of work to do. As I was sharing, the industry at large is, I mean, in the Bay Area where you think that we'd be a lot more diverse and all of that, we're about 78% cis white male. So we have a fair bit of work to do, and like I was sharing before, about 94% of people in ownership, positions of ownership, and in positions of power or management are cis white male. So we have a fair amount of work to do. It is better than it was 10 years ago.
It's an improving landscape. It wasn't until if you've ever read "Let My People Go Surfing," which is an awesome book. Who's the
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
actually, somebody just dropped that title to me last week.
Yeah, it was super
Yeah.
cool. I mean,
It's awesome.
But he talks about, it was in the early 80s when women really started to get into the workforce and were like, hey, we don't have paid maternity leave, we're forced out of jobs when we have kids.
Yeah.
And really the landscape had to begin to shift. And so, guys have like so many more years ahead of women advancing in the workplace, getting their rights represented.
Yeah.
So it's a changing landscape. It needs to start to change at a lot more rapid pace, and hopefully that's the direction things are going.
Yeah, beer's interesting though because it started with women.
Is that right?
Yeah, beer was originally brewed by women.
That makes sense.
And it wasn't until men figured out that women were actually making money and doing this successfully that they came in and said, oh, we can't have this.
Give me that.
Yes.
Let me take credit for that idea.
Yeah. But yeah, in its origin, it was created by, it was women that made beer.
Wow.
And so there was a flip. And sorry, I don't mean to get on this
Okay.
platform, but as in lots of things that originated with women, whether it be like scientific ideas or mathematic equations or beer, the credit historically goes to men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that needs to change, and it's good that you're in a position where you can make that change and start that
Absolutely.
leadership. And it's very exciting to be sitting here with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thrilled when I'm like, wait a minute, she's the brewmaster? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
place is
Very cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
So when we first started to talk, I said which of the beers? I think you've got 15 beers on tap here. Is that correct? I said, like, which of the ones should I choose? What stands out to you? What are you passionate about? And you said this is like asking me to choose a child. You gave me some direction, which was the Tropic Like It's Hot, which I believe is this one in the rotation. We'd love to taste that and talk about it, but tell us about that. What were the origins? What went into that? Why did you say that one out of all the children?
Well, one, it's relatively new, and it's West Coast, which is my favorite. I mean, I know people
Yeah, we love
hazy,
West Coast
and I
IPA.
make the shit out of hazies.
Yeah. A lot of people make the
But-
shit out of hazies.
But West Coast still holds my heart.
Yeah.
I am a West Coast brewer through
Yeah.
and through. I love hops. I like to play with hops. I like to experiment.
Yeah.
And we get to go do hop selection.
Oh, cool.
So
Oh,
we
fun.
fly to Yakima.
Wow.
And I've done it for years now for Drake's. And then this year I got to bring my head brewer, Miguel Ceja. And so the two of us flew into Yakima, and we spent a really short amount of time, tried to slam everything in. And we worked with one of our suppliers, Haas, and they have this experimental field.
Yeah.
And so they're just experimenting with different varietals of hops and trying to extract certain components, certain flavors, certain compounds. And we were standing in, and this is Miguel's first time, and we're standing in the hop fields on the farm, in the experimental field, and then they had set up like a tasting for us, so we could taste each hop or like several different, I think it was a collection of like 6, in like the same base beer, so you could extract, you could kind of taste how it presented in beer. And we're like, the hops, the vines, are all around us. We're in this beautiful, it was kind of chilly, but it was still this beautiful field.
What are
There's
they called?
nothing like being
Vines?
Vines with a B.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And they're trellised.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen them, but
haven't.
No, I haven't either.
This is super cool.
yeah.
All the beer I
Where is
drink, I've
Yakima
never
also?
seen it.
Can you tell us briefly?
Washington.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That I do.
Right on.
Yeah, and something like 89% of the hops grown in the world are grown in Yakima.
Wow.
Really?
Like some insane statistic.
Now I'm going to need a pilgrimage up there.
Yeah, we have New Zealand and Australia, so don't quote me on that 89%. I could be off, but it's a very large percentage.
Yeah.
And then and brewers make this trek every year to
okay.
go select.
Nice.
And that is when I feel like totally connected to the process of beer making, because you're out, you're meeting with the farmers, you're talking to the people who grow this. I mean, hops is such an integral part of what we do.
Right.
You're meeting with the people who are picking them, and you're seeing, you know what I mean? It just connects you in such a visceral way. So we're in the field and we're tasting these experimental, which is like the coolest thing ever. Tasting the experimental hops that you never had, like you didn't even really know unless you're really tracking that they were growing these hops, right? So it's not like it feels like you're getting spoiled, like you're kings
Are they like
and
a
queens.
hybrid of hop? They're hops that they're creating, or is it just?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And specifically growing, and they do have to splice and dice, and they're looking for some, like they've got a whole bunch of scientists that know a lot more than I do about growing hops for specific uses, right? So we taste through, and it's kind of insane some of the technology, how it's developed through just in the time that I've been brewing for about 12 years, so just in that time. So we got to go, we're in this field, we're drinking these beers, and of course you start to like fantasize about I start to fantasize. Miguel starts to about the types of beers you can make. I don't know if everybody does, but this is what I do.
I would.
That's so cool.
If I did what you did and I was there, I would do
we
that.
tasted one, we're like, oh, this would be insane in a lager, and this would be,
So you're tasting the hops? Like, are you chewing on them? What are you doing to taste the
No,
hops?
you can smell the hops like fresh off the vine,
Yeah.
you can pull them and smell them and everything like that, but it's actually tasting, they were last year picked and processed, and now they've been brewed
So they make some beer for you to taste
beer for us to taste it in the beer, right?
So you don't have to imagine what the smell of these hops will be like in a beer. You can taste it.
But oftentimes, anytime I'm kind of experiencing a beer that I am new to, I think about how it was made, or I think about what's wrong with it, or I think about, I'm not at the point in my life anymore where I can just drink a beer.
Right, you got to dissect it.
I've lost that. Now I have to jump into it.
That's why I can't walk through a house.
Yeah. So with to kind of tie it all in, so that was the experience again, and it was kind of magic for, again, my head brewery. I'd never been there, never done this before, so there's this awakening in him too.
Yeah.
And then we come home and we just had a conference, the California Craft Beer, the CCBA, up in Sacramento. And the supplier of these hops said, hey, why don't you brew a beer with some of those, hops that you loved, and then we can serve it at this conference. And
oh, cool.
I was like, yeah, let's do that.
Nice.
So
Brew beer.
I can play with these hops, And so then they're like, yep, what do you want? And so then, Miguel and I were like, hey, we like this at 1019, and this one 586. They all have numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got those hops, and it was literally by the skin of our teeth, because they needed to be picked, and they needed to be kilned, and then they pelletized and then sent to us. And I swear, we were probably the first people to brew with these
And that's
hops.
what went into Tropic Like
And
It's Hot.
that's what into Tropic Like It's
Wow,
Hot.
super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Val, you do the honors. Give us a taste. Give us your
right.
first impression, thoughts, notes.
Tropic Like It's Hot.
Nice.
Oh, that doesn't taste like it smells at all.
Is your smell still messed up? So she had COVID, so her smell is funky.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no.
Wow, that's an interesting smell.
Yeah.
It's pleasant. It's almost like, am I smelling guava on that? Fruit? Yeah? Okay, I'm hitting the right notes here?
Yeah.
I'm not bullshitting?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's really smooth. Wow.
Yeah.
You think that you're going to get something bitter on the tongue, and then it's oh no, it just floats right on.
Yeah.
That's really, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't, because when I smelled it, I thought, oh, this is going to
Whoa.
be really hoppy. And
That
it's
is
not.
awesome.
It's delicious.
So that's where the Tropic came from, the guava that we get on the
Yeah.
nose.
Yeah.
So the hops that we choose are tropic, and so guava.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get you do get citrus,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, papaya.
I can
all-
even get that
grapefruit.
aftertaste, like the papaya seeds
a
or
little
something like
A
that.
little grapefruit
but
on
like
back
the
end.
fleshy, not necessarily the rind.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Little
Which
bit
I
on the
think is
back
kind
end.
of fun.
That is fun.
And it's taking, so West Coast, oftentimes it can be dank and has a real bitter background, and
Yeah.
it can
Yeah.
be piney and citrusy, which I absolutely love, but trying to take it a little bit new school here and use some of the more softer tropical flavors
Yeah.
in conjunction with a malt bill that just kind of gets out of the way.
Yeah.
It's, it just supports the hops. But then it's only 6.5%, because if I'm going to make a beer, it's going to be between, if it's going to be an IPA, it's going to be between 6.5% and 7.5%. If I'm making it something I want to drink.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
I'll make a triple. I'll make anything, pretty much, almost. There are some lines.
You'll
that
make
I
a
like
1
to
pint
craft.
knockout?
Yeah.
Nitrogen charge 13%, knock you on your ass. Yeah.
Well,
If she names something one and done, you know.
they're like,
We know
"Uh-oh."
we're one and done, yeah.
Yeah, so that's Tropic.
That is maybe my favorite West Coast IPA. Those are such a nicely balanced and smooth. I used to love like triple, hazies, super hoppy, and then she got me into different beers, and my whole palate changed, and so I've been slowly creeping back into IPAs, and I love that. I could drink that every day. That's
Oh yeah, that's
that's so in my IPA.
a nice beer. That's a really nice
Well,
beer.
they say, I don't know who the they is, but
Yeah.
that we're trending away from kind of these crazy slushy extreme lactose IPA
Yeah,
fruit bomb
totally.
things, and we're kind of trending back to
Normal beers.
returned. Yeah, and so I'm like, I'm just excited to drink beer flavored beer again instead.
Yeah, me too, totally.
That's kind of what my, I spent time in Germany, so I got used to German beer and Pilsners and Kolsch and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And so that's always where I go back to, because that's, I went to Amsterdam and they were very kind to me
Yeah.
one night.
Yeah,
And
beer flavored beer.
It pretty much got poured out of that place, but
Let me take a quick break here.
oh,
All right, so what beer should we jump into next? We've got the Tree Beer, Smashing Grass, the Porter Robusto. So the Mama tried actually maple. That one really stuck out to me just because the name was cool, and it's a collaboration with another company. Is that correct?
Yeah, with Mother. Is it Mother Earth? Oh, he's not there. Mother.
Okay, Mother Earth.
Okay.
Tell us about this beer. That was just interesting. The title was just interesting to me.
It's a barley wine.
Okay. Oh wow.
And then it was aged in rye whiskey barrels,
Oh wow.
and maple was added to it.
Cool.
So
That's pretty straightforward. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Val.
yeah, is it this one or this
I think
one?
it's that one, right?
Yeah.
I'm all over this.
Yeah.
I don't even know that I've ever had barley wine.
Really?
I mean, maybe I have and I didn't know it. Is it just a higher percentage alcohol beer?
It is. Well,
Is that what they call
oftentimes
wine?
when you age beer in barrels, it needs to be high alcohol. We actually experiment with doing lower alcohol, and we have a few
Yeah.
that have been successful, but it needs to be malty.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah, that's very malty.
yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
usually
good.
I like malt bombs, but
Yeah.
that's
you almost
a lot of malt.
you smell the maple syrup on it for sure, the maple,
Yeah.
and then you feel it like the smooth. It's almost syrupy as you drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can be, barrel-aged beers can have that kind of syrup. You
Well, that's
notice
really
that
good.
it's a lot lower in carb too,
Yeah.
and so it's a lot more viscous.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a lot boozier, big flavors.
Yeah.
You should probably get maple, vanilla,
Yeah, I got some
maybe
vanilla out of
some
that.
of the spice from the rye.
A little bit of that, yeah, for sure. I can taste the rye in it.
Yeah.
That's
and
nice.
Then,
What's the alcohol
some
on that?
caramel. I don't remember what the final was,
Okay.
to tell you the truth. It's probably up on the board, but
Yeah.
I don't
That's
remember
all
what it was.
Can you tell us a little bit about the tree beer? I know we're asking you from memory, and you've got so many beers
Yeah.
to go from, and then probably more that you're working
you
on,
got
right?
15 children to remember.
Tree beer, it's a seasonal beer, so we brew it around this time every year.
Yep.
It originated from, I don't know if you guys know who Roger Davis is. He's the owner of Faction
Okay.
Brewing.
Okay.
I know Faction.
So he used to brew here.
Okay.
And I don't remember if it was while he was brewing or if he came back to do a collab with us, but he literally put like a Christmas tree in the kettle. So he put a tree in the beer.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it was insane to clean up.
So this beer's like full of tree sap.
Tree in here.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
Nobody
Yeah.
was stoned when that idea came to be.
Not at all. It wasn't legal then, guys. And so that's how tree
called
beer
it.
was birthed, and everybody loved it. They loved the idea of drinking a tree. And remember, I said like West Coast IPAs are piney. Well, this is like the epitome of piney. And we no longer put a tree, but we do use spruce tips and juniper,
Okay.
and we used Chinook this year as well.
Oh wow, cool. Right on. Yeah, you can smell the like it smells like a pine tree when you yeah.
So it should taste like your Christmas tree.
Well, I eat that, regularly.
That is-
so I know what that tastes like.
Wow. I was, because I'm not a big piney fan, but this is really, really good.
It's interesting, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I think
no,
the
it's
juniper,
good.
and then we try to balance it out. It has a little bit more malt.
Well, balance, it's
yeah,
balanced.
because it needs to be balanced.
Yeah.
And the nose is so interesting on that beer. I'd never like smelled the beer and been like, oh, that smells like my Christmas tree.
Right. Yeah. Or like
Even the first taste tastes like your Christmas tree. Now I get it, right? Yeah.
that's why it's tree beer. So it's
Wow.
We've
That's good.
actually done different iterations of tree beer too. We
Yeah.
did like a spring tree that was kind of like floral,
Mm-hmm.
and one year we had a woman that brewed here. At one point, actually, Drake's had more female brewers or more women in production than I don't
Nice.
know any. Like it was over half. In,
Wow.
Like
I love that.
70%, 65, 70%.
That's so cool.
Anyway, they've all gone on to one's a head brewer at Urban Roots, one's a head brewer at a place in
Yeah.
Florida. One is head distiller, and so they're still
It's
in
the training ground
industry,
for
but
female leadership in beer. Train them
I
and
guess
send them
I
out.
have to leave, and then we can have some. Yeah. But one year when we were doing tree beer, she went out, and because she actually owns, the woman that I'm speaking of now, owns her own gardening design company.
Okay.
She, so she was like, you know, she's this badass and goes out and she's like, we don't need to buy this stuff. I can go forage for it, right? And we're
Nice.
like, okay. So she comes back and she's like got all kinds of different
Shrubberies.
things, different shrubberies to put, so that we can make tree beer, and so, you know, and one of those things was bay leaves, and none of us
Oh, wow.
did our research, so we had no idea that bay leaves kill yeast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you need yeast to make beer.
Right? Oopsie.
Where's the biochem major, right?
Yeah.
I guess
well,
I
that
should have
actually
gone to
was
school.
because another person that worked was a biochem major, and
Oh, really?
they were like, dum-dums.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty.
And all of us were like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, of course, yeah. I mean, if we would have like thought before
Yeah.
doing this.
What is
but
it in the bay leaf that kills yeast? Do you know?
I don't remember. No.
But the biochem guy does, or gal.
yeah, they do.
They know. Like, it's this molecule. Okay.
Don't do that.
Don't do it again.
Bad
shit.
idea.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fun beer. Okay, so let's.
Yeah.
I know
It
one
was
of those you wanted to have
Travis.
Travis talk about. So I think the next
Well,
one.
that was Mama Tried, but it's fine.
We skipped right past that. Okay.
He can do other things
The hell with
for
that
you.
guy.
So let's go on to this one right here. So this must be Smashing Grass. This
That
is
is
Smashing Grass.
Smashing, yep.
Okay, cool. So
Is this going to taste like when I got my face pushed into the grass when I was a little kid?
It's actually supposed to. It got its name because smashing grass is another term for smoking weed.
we've
Sweet.
never done that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, and I don't know if we have cans, but the cans are like, they look like old school rolling papers. Like,
Oh, fun.
That
One
was
of these
the
days, one of these
design.
podcasts is going to be like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, and we're going to be like,
So smashing grass is it's on the danker side.
okay,
Intentionally.
that's a good, that's
Yeah.
a good description.
And this
Okay,
is
yep, I
actually
smell that.
a recipe by our head brewer Miguel Ceja. So
Oh, cool, right on.
It's his recipe.
Nice.
He really likes to lean toward dank, and so
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
What does dank mean? I mean, I've only understood that in the term of like,
it means
it's
like
cool.
it should be like after you smoke a bowl.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of like fills your cheeks and like kind of that flavor. Or
Yeah.
like even when you're smelling weed, because they're related, weed
Yeah.
and hops.
Sure.
You should have some similar experices when you're
That's
drinking
really
that beer.
good.
Should have a finish that's more reminiscent of smoking a bowl than it is of papaya.
Okay.
Right
Right on.
Snoopy.
Yeah.
I hate papaya.
Oh, you really get a lot of that dank now that I understand the term.
Yeah.
As you're taking it in,
Yeah.
like it hits you, kind of like the taste and the smell combined.
Squirrel
Yeah.
cheeks.
Yeah. I mean, it is more challenging because
Whoa.
there's so much like
Yeah.
great weed out there and that's so
Yeah.
accessible now that
Totally.
you're like, but this
Yeah.
weed tastes like papaya.
Totally.
What do you
You can
mean?
go get these like hybrid 27% THCs.
Yeah.
And we're off
Yeah.
down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving along here, that was an awesome beer. I like that a lot. The Robusto Porter. So we
Yeah.
always have to throw
We call
a porter
it Black
in the mix.
Robusto.
Black Robusto. Okay,
Yeah. And it's actually, it won gold.
cool. It did. All right.
Yeah.
Give us a smell, Val.
So it is a
Yeah.
gold medal winning beer, award-winning beer.
How did you guys come about creating this? What went into it?
Just,
Oh, wow.
It's a
Coffee.
porter. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's coffee, it's chocolate,
Yeah.
it's,
Chocolate for sure.
yeah, it's
Dark
a pretty,
chocolate.
Oh yeah, wow. It's
pretty
got a big nose on it for
standard,
sure, yeah.
like, typical porter.
That wins gold medals.
That wins gold. I guess okay, fine. Whatever. She's got like 31 of them.
That's like a breakfast beer.
Oh, I guess I do have a record.
Nice. There you go. So for some context for the people watching, right? Valerie holds 31 world records in powerlifting, and it soon will be 32 and then 33, and the number keeps climbing. And so Dee in the beginning was talking about, I need to get my world records, and here we are trying her gold medal winning beer, right?
So she already has one.
It's the World Cup of beer that it won
Oh,
Yeah.
super cool. So you do hold a world record, and it is for this beer.
for 1 year.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, that-
Hey, 1 year, it's good. Try it. Tell us what you think.
No, I did try it.
Oh, you did try it. I just smelled it.
it's-
Okay.
Yeah, it's delicious.
It is delicious, and I love
That's a
this time
breakfast
of
beer.
year,
Ooh.
honestly, too. This time, because it's not super boozy, but it still is warming, and it makes you feel like, because of the coffee and the chocolate notes,
That's a nice pour.
it has a good sweetness to
Yeah.
it, but it doesn't finish sweet. It's,
Right.
You
No,
know
it's
what I mean?
light-bodied on the
it's
tongue,
light.
but you can taste all the intricacies in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
It has
10.
a lot of depth
Yeah.
to it.
That's why it's a breakfast beer.
I
And
love it. That's
like,
great.
I absolutely think. I think breakfast is great. I think it's great for like I said, this time of year when
Yeah.
you just want to kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're cold all the time like me.
No, it's
Yeah,
Sunday
I'm
morning. We got
awesome.
together and drank dark beers too. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
we
totally
did.
the thing.
We
yeah.
started
We
with
have
dark beer.
a Draconic, which is like a big boozy, like 975 dark beer, and I've made floats with that vanilla ice
Oh,
cream.
sweet.
You just put it right in the
Ooh.
beer. Yeah, I should try it.
That sounds fun.
That sounds
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Not porter, but it can't quite hold up to the vanilla ice cream, I don't think. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, this has been really fun. We've gone
Yeah.
through a whole wheel of beer here. We've been getting buzzed while you've stayed completely sober. I'm sorry.
I still have work to do.
You still have work to do. Thank you so much
We're
for taking
fun,
your time
though.
today.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. This has been
Thank you.
awesome. We really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun to hang out with you. And thanks for what you're doing in the field of beer and advancing that for women. I love that, and I would love to see that grow. And
Same.
now my mind has been opened to kind of that dynamic, and I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
so,
I
very
mean,
cool.
women have a little bit more, especially white women. We have more representation than people of color in the queer community. So we have a lot of work to do
Yeah.
in beer.
Right on.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep on doing it.
Good. Thank you for
Right
doing
on.
that.
Yeah, thank
Very
you guys.
nice to chat with you.
All right.
You too. Thanks.